Minecraft. More polygons? No, it's more Final Fantasy II. That's right, it's bonus episode time. Let's get started. Welcome back to a bonus episode of Final Fantasy II. And here I am in creative mode so we can fly around the map and see all of the destruction and building. And what is that I see down there? Wait a minute. Oh my
Hello,
goodness. It's
me
3
again.
2. Hey,
How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing great. I enjoyed playing
Excellent.
your map. I'm glad you could be here again.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And so, to those of any of you who don't know, you should introduce yourself.
I am 3-2. I'm the creator of this horrible, awful place that I've made Brian experience, but he came through all right. So proud we are of him, I suppose.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I really enjoyed. This is the first time I've been in creative mode, taking a look at the map, and I enjoyed just kind of flying straight up from the starting area,
hmm
both to just kind of like see how it looks, and it's really cool that just like the island, and you can see the different directions, as well as all of the destruction. Because I had a really rough time in episode 1 on the starting island.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was well. You got the shell shock experience, I believe.
I certainly did. One of the things I'm really curious about is I've seen some other people play the map, and they did not start in a thunderstorm like I did,
hmm
or a rainstorm that became a thunderstorm. And so
hmm
I want to know if that's something that you like explicitly changed in different versions of the map, or was intentional or unintentional, or what the story was there.
Well, it's just that I didn't change anything. It's the weather is pretty random. So some people will start the map and let it run for a little bit, and the thunderstorm can end within minutes or it
Hmm.
can go for days. So and then there's also some people will use Optifine, which has an option to turn the weather off. And
Ah.
I didn't exactly explicitly state on the thread or anything that you should have the weather on. So
Hmm.
that might be the case. But if you were watching Ooj last
Hmm.
night,
Yeah.
their thunderstorm was just right at the beginning, enough to spawn mobs, and then it just stopped
Hmm.
abruptly. So yeah, it's one of those things I can't really control. I kind
It
of
is.
realized that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is possible to control. I know only because, or assuming they haven't changed like the game format stuff.
Mhm,
There was an episode for my LP a long time ago where I needed some silverfish blocks to pull off a little kind of self prank,
mhm.
and so I made a little custom editor and was like looking at the world files, and like there's actually data in there for how long it is until the next rainstorm or the next thunderstorm, and then what the duration of
Oh,
the next rainstorm or thunderstorm. So I don't know if any of the like
okay.
MC edit tools or things like expose that information, but it seems like that is controllable. And so if you wanted
Wow,
to use that in a future map, you should poke into it.
I'll have to look at that. A guy just contacted me that writes filters for MC Edit, and
Hmm.
he's really amazing. So I'll have to talk to him about that a little bit and see. Because yeah, that
Um,
was kind of one of the things that was a little bit random. I knew it was going to be, but there wasn't much I could do other than put a bedrock ceiling
right.
above this island, which then it would never be peaceful. It would just be too hard to get under control. So
Yeah, and this is still like not under control. Like when I first spawned in here in my creative world to set this up, it was nighttime and there were tons of mobs. Because I
yeah.
never bothered. Like I have some torches kind of scattered all over the island here, but it's not very well lit up, and I rarely kind
hmm
of came back here after the beginning.
hmm
Um, but yeah, it was rough for me, and you could tell with all the just like pockmarked landscape from all the creeper explosions over here,
Oh yeah.
and then yeah, all this bridging I did to take out all the silverfish spawners.
Yeah.
But yes, a nice shell shock island to go ahead and get things started off. And yeah, so I guess there's a couple of like big picture things that occur like the first time you're on the map, which is one, it's kind of a linear branching thing that like there's three different areas and they actually had numbers,
hmm
um, as opposed to kind of a more open worldish kind of thing.
hmm
And I kind of like that because I felt like in this map you had a really good progression where areas like it really did get harder for the most part as you went along.
hmm
Um, and yes, I don't know if you've gotten any other kind of like comments about that or had any other thoughts to say about the linear branching model as opposed to completely open world.
Well, I mean, honestly, a lot of that came from talking with Joe Hills. He was nice enough after he finished his first Final Fantasy map to
Hmm.
give me a call and kind of discuss, how he felt about it and kind of helped me look at it from a LPer's perspective rather than a player's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the things he was really stressing was that linear branching was much easier to LP because exploring an open world, it's hard to record, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And so, not that I wanted to cater explicitly to LPers for this map, but I did want to kind of balance it out between a player's map and an LPer's map to, cut down on recording time and downtime where you're just looking around and searching for stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I like I like the open world thing. I think that's more of a player's map, is just to uh, to lengthen the experience and let you experience the world. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I totally understand being a LPer myself that yeah, you can't be recording for hours upon hours as you're looking for the next thing to do or the next place to go to. So
Yep.
I tried to balance that out.
Yeah, and that was actually something I saw in one of your videos somewhat recently, like a couple of weeks ago, I think, where you were talking about the distinction between LPing and playing the game. And it's one of the things that like really hadn't occurred to me much. And I guess that's
Hmm.
because I so rarely play the game. Like I almost always, like if I have Minecraft on, I'm also recording.
Hmm.
And so I don't experience just kind of playing the game all that much. And so that is something that's kind of different.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, in any case, that kind of leads into then one of the next things I was going to point out, which is rather than having rail systems, like using the water to kind of like get around over here, and so you could always just hop in a boat in order to kind of
Hmm.
quickly get from area to area. And so I thought that that was a clever thing to do in order to kind of deal with that. And so I presume that was kind of intentional in terms of fast travel between areas rather than having to build rails.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people enjoy building rails, but again, like I wanted to kind of cut down on the actual playtime of the map.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from the tedium of exploring and stuff, I really wanted to make things a little bit quicker in transition from area to area. Again, it's mostly for LPers because if you happen to go to the first area and die without a bed spawn out there,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to spawn all the way back here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it helps to be able to just hop in a boat and zip on over there. The alternative would have been like ice paths on the water. I kind of wish I would have thought of
Oh,
that because you could,
you could
you
sprint jump
can,
over them really fast.
yeah, really, really fast, but maybe in the next map.
Indeed. All right, that's pretty cool. And then one more thing I wanted to ask before we leave the starting area.
Mhm.
When you start out with the starting area, there is, I don't know if it's down here anymore. Yeah, I took it. But the chest with the maps and
Oh, yeah.
the storyline. Um, and so I already saw, so Ooj, BWO, and Good and Etho have just started playing the map, which also
Yeah.
just kind of like congratulations for you because that'll get you lots of airtime. I've seen another duo of kind of like big LPers who've also just recently started the map, and so it
Hmm.
seems like it's being this one's more popular, um, which I think is great because I enjoy these maps, and so I want to see more people see them and get exposed to them and play them. But
Yeah.
it seems like they're kind of completely ignoring the storyline already, and so just wanted to see like how I don't know if you were very attached to the storyline or were just kind of like trying it out or.
Yeah, it was more of an experiment. I mean, I'm not an author. I really, it's not like I write in my spare time or anything, so I
Mhm.
don't know how well the story follows along with the map or anything. It's mostly just kind of meant to be a little mystery. People, out of all kinds of literature, people all seem to love mysteries, so just gives you a little background as to what you're doing. But yeah, I don't think they're going to be worse off from not reading the
Yeah,
story.
it was
Although
definitely their
there are a few areas
clues.
that have some clues in there,
Yes.
so that might be it might catch up with them a little
Yeah,
later
and so
on.
yeah,
But
I actually like that. It kind of already has, although yeah, I was really surprised that at least Etho didn't think of it because they're already over in the Blackest Bog, which I guess we can start flying over to.
sure.
And one of the things the map says is a grass-like substance is kind of like the foundation for a habitable world or something.
Hmm.
And I was like,
Hmm.
oh, grass, grass! I killed skeletons. I have bone meal. I can start making bread.
Right, right.
And yeah, they haven't gotten that far yet, although I'm sure it won't be long if they end up in kind of food problems. Here's my first little base that I made, and I even had like cows and chickens and different things, and then I ended up
Hmm.
never farming them and coming back to this because there ended up being tons of loot and stuff available on the map. But it's fun to
Yeah,
come back here and just see it and be nostalgic.
yeah.
I'm even farming vines apparently over there. Craziness. So, yeah, Area 1, the Blackest Bog. Um, so, yeah, the next question I wanted to ask you
Hmm.
is Area 2 seems easier than Area 1 because it doesn't have the ceiling. You're in open air in the Area 2.
Hmm.
And so I was curious if there was any kind of, rhyme or reason to the numbering, or it was just, you had three areas and you didn't think about it too much. Or I have one
Um,
guess, but I want to hear what you
well,
think.
yeah, Area 2, I think a lot of people think it's easier, but then I don't know. I believe the dungeon is a little bit tougher
The
in
dungeon is
Area
tougher.
2. So that's kind of what I base that on. Plus, I didn't want, I wanted people to feel like they're still in a hostile world. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought that this bog area really, like, as far as some of my map design goes, I thought this one really captured the feel of a swamp or a bog, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I wanted people to feel like they're definitely in a hostile environment. And once you get to area two, it's kind of like, oh, well, this is like regular Minecraft. There's trees, there's animals, it's the sky is open, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So uh, I wanted that to be kind of a relief because the first area is pretty tough.
Yep.
So yeah, area two, as you kind of bowed into it, was kind of meant to be like a little relief, a little takedown from the intensity, and then you hit that dungeon again, and then go shoot the intensity right back up.
Yep. All right.
So I
So,
like to follow this. I kind of learned from Penny Arcade. They
mm-hmm.
do that series Extra Credits, and they did one show about pacing of a video game, and they kind of followed the pattern of peaks and valleys. Gradually building up. Each peak is a little bit greater than the last, then it dips down into a valley, and supposedly that's helps the players keep interest in the game rather than each area is just harder than the last one,
I see.
and a steady incline of
Mm-hmm.
difficulty. So. I think they're right. I think I enjoy that. I don't know how well I pulled that off in this map, but that's kind of what I was going for.
I see. Well, I'll definitely have my own comments as we kind of progress through the areas. So
Hmm.
yeah, then basically, yeah, you had kind of like resourcing here. You had this kind of castle in the center that like gave you some good armor and weapons or something.
Hmm.
And then you come out to this area, which is like one of the first. Like the bog is pretty cool looking, but like this area was one of the first, cool visual reveals because that's one
Hmm.
thing that I feel like uh, is something that you're really good at. Of course, the cat is already exploded up here.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
because of course there was the trap when you try to get the diamond out of its eyes. But yeah, this whole area, and yeah, being able to now take advantage of the full, height limit,
Hmm.
um, yeah, ended up being a cool area. I think I mentioned it when I was playing this area, but the first time I fell out of the world here, I very much appreciated that there was water and a floor, so I could go down and get my
Oh yeah.
items,
Yeah.
as opposed
Yeah.
to falling out of the world. Like in Final Fantasy One, like I fell out of the world a number of times, and it's always so frustrating because you lose everything you're carrying. And so this was good in terms of making it not too frustrating for me at the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is rough too. I do give you supplies are pretty abundant in this map as opposed to the
Yes.
first one, but yeah, losing some early supplies early on would be pretty critical as far as your progress goes. So, um, yeah, I thought that would be kind of fun, and it is kind of a pain to get down there and recover them. So, not not completely giving it to you, but
Right. And yeah, I see there's lots of loot here that I didn't get. Oops, I'm spawning ghasts.
yeah.
Yeah, for the most part. So yeah, in terms of like, there's a lot more resources here. Yeah, we already talked about the fact that you go into the first area and you already have, saplings and stone and grass, so you can get an unlimited, wheat farm going or whatever. And so I
Hmm.
guess in terms of like difficulty rating, I guess Final Fantasy One you called like a ROM hack hard map, whereas this one's just like a difficult map or something. Or I don't know if you
Yeah.
have anything.
Yeah, well, that's basically I rate mine as difficult, extra difficult. So Final Fantasy One was definitely extra difficult and uh, definitely ROM hack material. And this one, yeah, a lot of people seem to have trouble with it, and they think it's even harder than the first one.
Oh,
But
yeah,
it's
I
not exactly
definitely,
what
yeah,
I intended. I mean,
yeah.
everybody's experience is going to be different. I can't
Hmm.
exactly control everything, so.
But yeah,
But
I
yeah,
definitely thought this one
resource
was
wise,
easier.
I think someone, my buddy last username
Hmm.
put it pretty well. He said that, at first you wonder, why is he giving me all this stuff? And then later on you say, oh, that's why. So I thought that was pretty accurate.
Let's see. And yeah, I don't know. Oh, I know one thing I wanted to ask you. So basically, then you come over here, and there's like the kind of internal dungeon. There's kind of like a little, it's not really a maze, but there's a couple ways that you can go and kind of have to break through all the rooms with the spawners.
Hmm.
But before I went in there and did all of that, I did come up here and I saw basically this room in the back and
Hmm.
kind of inferred, like I dug into it and saw that there was bedrock, and so decided the birdcage was going to be in here and you had to like fight through everything in order to get in here.
Yeah.
I'm curious, is there any kind of secret entrance?
Nope.
Oh,
Nope. Not that I know of anyway. I mean, I can sometimes trick myself as I'm making these maps, but
mm-hmm.
no, not intended to be.
Okay.
So
I didn't know
I
if you
know
had any kind
that's
of
usually
things
my
for like,
style
yeah,
to
speed
kind of
run
give
kind of
you
thing.
a backdoor or whatever. But
Right. There was one
there
shortcut.
are some shortcuts in this
Yes.
in the dungeon. So that's basically what I gave you there.
Yeah. Well, I didn't find it kind of going in, but like, yeah, as I was coming out, I remember I found one of the shortcuts where basically you cut through a wall that was mostly bedrock and kind of
Hmm.
have to kind of avoid going over that gassed area or something.
Hmm.
And let's see. I'm looking back at my notes to see if there's any other things. Oh yeah, the this, cat bull whatever it is sculpture up here, like is it's
Uh-huh.
actually supposed to be something specific that I didn't recognize?
Yeah, it was kind of supposed to be a rendition of Ligar's Palace from the game Rygar for
Right,
Nintendo Entertainment
Nintendo.
System. Yeah, old game. Not a really great one, but when I was a kid, for some reason the visuals in that game were really stimulating to me, and it always kind of stuck with me. So yeah, this was the Ligar's floating castle from Rygar, and then this area with all the towers was named Return to the Valley of Rolsa,
Mm-hmm.
and Rolsa was another area from
Right,
Rygar. So,
right. Okay, so I actually did play some Rygar on the Nintendo,
hmm.
although I don't think I got very far in it. It wasn't a game that I owned. I just played it at a friend's house.
Hmm.
But yeah, now that you're saying that, the Return to the Valley of Ralsa, like it definitely was kind of like this, where you had to like climb up a bunch of different kind of places and things.
Hmm. Hmm.
All right, I don't know if there's anything else that I have to say about Area 1, so you want to head over to Area 2?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, so modulo some chunk errors where I can see a rail line through the world below me. Here we are coming over to Area 2 now. And oh, my happy little base from Area 2. It's not a whole lot there, but I expect I've taken almost all the materials.
I like how you always set your base up so far away from the
Yeah, I want to
actual,
make sure my
so
base
you
is
don't
safe.
trust me.
And yeah, like there's, it was just, normal mobs spawning on the edges or whatever, but yep. And kitties everywhere.
Yeah,
So many jungle
lots of
cats.
kitties. You had
Uh,
a lot too, didn't you?
yeah,
I have
and
no idea why that happened.
so is it like, do you do like a biome set? Like, I'm not even sure if I hit F3 to like see, is this, yeah, it's
Mhm.
actually a
Yeah,
jungle.
jungle biome. So yeah, like when I was actually making the map,
Hmm.
you'd get normal jungle spawns. Everything seemed pretty normal: chickens, sheep, and cats. And then, of course, before I saved the map and put it up for download, I killed all mobs.
I
Just
see.
removed everything from the map. And for some reason, the cats just started spawning like crazy in people's maps. I had a Lunapod was running around thinking I had cat spawners.
Hmm.
But no, it's just I don't know, something about the jungle. And I guess the way I designed the map is pretty far from a normal, Minecraft jungle, so it just
Yeah, I also don't know if the cats are like persistent, and so like if they don't despawn, like I guess do all the hostile or friendly mobs like not despawn anyway? I don't know.
I'm not sure how
They've
the
changed Minecraft, yeah, like spawning mechanics a number of times, and I really don't
mm,
keep up with every little last detail.
hmm
I'm sure
hmm
some people in the comments will say some things about that. So yeah, basically you come into this area, and obviously there's this big floating spaceship thing, which just kind of like screams, "Go up here. This is important."
right.
But I find it amusing that I ended up sailing around the whole outside of this. I want to like just sail up into the sky now. So
Hmm.
for anyone who only watched this on my channel and didn't watch anybody else's, we missed a really cool area here in the middle.
Yeah.
The super sword afoot.
Yeah, Mr. Futissimo. Yeah, this was like a little another little challenge area and you know, loot gathering, resource
Mm-hmm.
gathering dungeon. So, um pretty
And
good
yeah,
challenge. It's more of like a uh can you figure it out how to get through there because there's so many mob spawners in there that you can't power through it. You've got to outsmart them. So,
mm-hmm. So yeah, I've seen that in a number of other people's Let's Plays, and I've recommended a couple other people Let's Plays, and I'm sure a lot of people now will be watching Ooge or whatever, and so it'll be interesting to see if they find this area and how they fight through it. But definitely
Hmm.
go check out other people if you want to see that dungeon and didn't see it on my channel. And yeah, so in any case, this area, like you said, it was kind of a welcome relief. I did not do much exploring around this area because it was kind of very apparent from early into the map that there were going to be lots of loot chests and lots of resources available. And so,
Sure.
I basically kind of didn't spend much time trying to gather loot and instead was just trying to go find the dungeons and the bird cages.
Hmm.
And so I did the natural thing and I went up to the top. And I kind of like what you did in a number of these areas with these obelisks that kind of contain bird cages, but rather than being the record,
Hmm.
it's just like some super loot.
Yeah, like a little troll bird cage. So you think you've got 30 spawners in the tower, and then yeah, a little bird cage up top. But I think the loot is worth it. Some people got mad about these. They said it was ridiculous to have that many spawners in one place.
Well, I didn't have any trouble with them because I just attacked it from. I just came up here and then I pillared up and I just went into the loot chest and just ignored all the spiders and everything. This is one of the
Sure,
few
yeah.
places like I don't usually do that. Like usually I break all the spawners and kind of conquer the area and then kind of move on. And
Hmm.
this one I don't know if it's just because it was a lot of cave spiders or the terrain around here is pretty horrible trying to like jump up and down these things. But
Well, yeah, I kind of prefer to have like kind of a depth to the difficulty, I mean, obviously you're going to have a hard time to charge it head on, but I think players like the fact that they can just bridge up and attack it from a different angle. That's the sort of difficulty I like, to where it's not
hmm,
just are you skilled enough to take on 30 mob
right,
spawners. It's like are you, clever enough to figure out a way around this situation. So,
yep. And yeah, also there were a couple of these areas where basically it was open to sunlight too. So long as you either bring a
mhm.
bed or do it in the daytime, like things aren't nearly as bad.
Sure, sure.
But yeah, then I walked all around here and wasn't sure where I was supposed to go next. And only because I was trying to get back down to my bed, I think. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
you do a good job of like the discovery. I was like putting down the water bucket here, and then like I turn around and I was like, wait a minute, end stone. There's a passageway right here.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure enough, it was on all four sides. And
Hmm.
yeah, this led into a dungeon that I took on. I guess yeah, let's go ahead and walk in here. Uh, you know, the kind of normal, straightforward way. Um, so first of all, these
Oh,
dispenser traps in the
they didn't work. That's right.
and so I think possibly I've seen at least one person where it did work, but
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. Is it just because like if you happen to stand somewhere where they're kind of like glitching and then you get into the like where they're out of where it renders or whatever and then they hover or
Yeah, you might have triggered it early on when you're
walking around the
exploring,
top?
and then
Yeah,
yeah, kind of unloaded it somehow, walked away from it, and it's not really meant to re-trigger itself. It's just kind of a one-time only
I see.
thing.
But then you come in here and yeah, this room was filled with blaze spawners and creeper spawners and all kinds of badness.
Oh yeah.
Um, and but at the same time, you'd given some like fire potions and different things, and so I was pretty happy with how I powered through this area.
Hmm.
But then I've been watching other people, and like three other people I've seen have discovered like a secret entrance through the top in like three different ways.
Yeah, yeah. That was something that I didn't even realize was there.
I see. So yeah,
I
that's what I
mean, I
was
knew
curious
with
about,
there's a
basically.
lava pillar that goes straight to the top, and I
Right.
knew if you found the pillar at the top, you could, fire potion down. But
Mm-hmm.
apparently, there's like a little hole
Yeah, there's a couple
right
of
above you.
holes, yeah, like where people can get through the
So
end stone and just kind of walk in the top of this. So
yeah,
yeah, I was kind of surprised and didn't know if that was intentional or that was another thing I wanted to ask. So
no, just map maker's folly.
slacker, slacker, 3-2 is a
Yep,
big slacker.
slacker. You didn't do the work.
But yeah, this was cool. And another thing I wanted to ask that I said in my video was basically if the dispensers do work. Like, do they end up actually shooting fire charges that like go all the way out and like set some trees on fire back out in other parts of the map? Or
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know if they'll go that far just
hmm,
because of the actual chunks that load around the
right,
player. I suppose it would depend on where exactly you are standing.
right,
Like, I suppose if you set it off and then tried to run back out here, it
right.
might be
It looked
far
like there was a
enough.
tree kind of like almost directly in its path, and so I didn't know if that was intentional or not.
No,
And
well, the trees over on the sides over here are just meant
right,
to help you find your way up and find these tunnels. But yeah, I don't know. I never saw anything catch on fire while I was testing it.
I
So
see. Yeah, because I was speculating about, yeah, coming over here to see if this tree would come on fire. And if I had, I would have found this area. But at that point, I'd already moved on to Area 3 and actually watched other people discover the sword. And so since
mhm,
I didn't discover it my sword, I didn't want to discover it myself. I didn't want to, like kind of cheat and come back here to get the loot.
sure.
I did, however, at one point later in the map, I was just gathering some coal, like uh, over at the front of the area. And
Mhm.
then that is when the trap went off that is over here where you get the potions.
Oh yeah, yep, the potion trap.
And so, yeah, my main question for this one was is this the only place that you get nether wart on the entire map?
Um, no, you get it in the end as well.
Oh, yeah,
There's
that's
a
right.
potion
Yep,
brewing
yep, there
kit
was a
there
whole
too.
kit there. That's right. I
But yeah,
forgot.
this trap didn't work very well. It was kind of like a last minute design. But there was a pressure plate in here and skeleton spawners so
Right.
that once you got close, you would, the skeletons would draw out, step on the plate, and it would blow up.
But
Um,
yeah, you can just happen to get random spawns that do the same thing, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah, it was dark enough there so that yeah, random spawns would set it off.
But yeah, it ended up like, working out good for me because it was like, ooh, here's loot that I didn't get that's actually really important because
Hmm.
once you can brew your own fire potions, like that's another thing that like, fire potions and buckets of lava are kind of like two of the main things that are super overpowered in this game. And
Oh yeah,
but at that point,
absolutely.
I was happy to go ahead and have them in order to progress quickly through the
Yeah.
map.
Yeah, you need them. I mean, when dealing with blazes, it's just it becomes too annoying without fire potions, you know? I mean, there's no way to block their fire
Hmm.
other than to actually place blocks and build barriers. So, yeah, I mean, fire resist is a little OP, but at the same time, you can design your game around it and, make people have to use it in
Hmm.
order to get through areas.
And yeah, there were definitely also just plenty of like splash potions that you left around areas, especially when there was going to be bad stuff like that coming up.
Hmm.
And so that was good. Um, and then we come over to Area 3, which I think is my favorite area in terms of the aesthetics and the looks of the area on the map.
Hmm.
Because it's just a very cool, like whether you're on the top or the bottom, like it's super cool looking. And so it's just starting to render for me over here.
Oh, that big jungle tree. I forgot about that. That was a good way to get up there.
Thank you. Yep.
That was quite smart.
Um, yeah, I have used that a couple of times. Yeah, in LP stuff, like when I'm just trying to get up somewhere. But yeah,
Hmm.
basically you walk over to this area, and it actually I think looks even cooler now that I like cut all these holes in the ceiling, and you have all these little diamond pillars of light from the sunlight or the moonlight.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, like the ceiling on here looks cool. I love in general like Minecraft. I love snow biomes and ice, and so I like the look of that. And then if we fly up to the top, I should probably reset it to daytime to make it easier to see here. Yeah, you had this old glowstone floor, and there were a couple more of these obelisks and more snow.
Hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, I just enjoyed the look of this area. Let me reset the time. And on top of that, you get as much iron as you want.
Yeah, yeah. I like to give everybody iron. Yeah. I think it's a good resource. So,
It definitely is. I forgot that I had left so much up here unmined. Like I got all the
hmm
iron blocks that were out of the chest, and I did
hmm
come and like mine a bit of the iron, but I forgot that there was so much left here. I might have used it
I
a little
I
less
was
sparingly.
watching Cilantro Gamer when he live streamed this map, and
Hmm.
poor guy didn't realize that I think there was like an efficiency 5 pick or something in here,
Hmm.
and then all the iron blocks. And poor guy, sat there and mined out the entire bottom set of iron ore
I see.
with just like a regular old pick.
Right.
Felt so bad.
Yeah, and I also came up here to do some glowstone mining. So this was a really good resource area.
Hmm.
But then when you go down into the depths of Area 3, like I felt like this was the first really big challenge.
Yeah, this is a really tough area. Even in my test runs, I kind of questioned the problem was that the deal was already done by the time I test ran it, so there
Hmm.
wasn't a whole lot I could do to kind of nerf the difficulty. But yeah, this one was really tough. Like I barely got through it both times I ran my tests on it. So, but
Yeah,
in this one of these obelisks here, there was the ice blocks, and I didn't see
right.
you use those.
I did not. Yeah, I realized that basically it seemed like they were going to be useful only in the Nether.
Hmm.
And so I thought about that, but then didn't really find a good place to put them to use. And so when we get to the Nether, yeah, I'll be curious if you had any particular places in mind. But I'm going to go ahead and dive down into the interior of this area because now that I can fly around, like I want to just kind of like see it from different angles because these kind of like cool swirly whirlwind underground maelstrom uh, yeah, it's just cool looking, and it's nice to be out here and not have to worry about gas killing me and knocking me off.
Right.
And there's still more to come next episode.